Hi. Today I had some fun with the Noise Engineering's Basimilus, Iteritas alter and my Deluge. And I put together this fun little groove. I will go through how all of this came about from scratch in just a moment. I first put together a patch with the Basimilus. If you're more interested in the Deluge parts of this video, best skip ahead to the about 14-minute mark. But enough of the preamble now, let's get started. I start by setting up an audio clip on the Deluge, where the modular signal will come in. Right out of the gate, I made a crucial mistake here by setting it to stereo, since the modular is mono. I had to mix it all back down to mono in the end. Because the way I had it set up, the modular was only on the right side channel. So, sorry about that, but I guess that's how you learn, they say, by making those mistakes. I patched the Basimulus output to the case's output via a VCA, just for volume control. The nifty case converts MIDI from the Deluge to CV. Quite nifty indeed. I'm patching the gate of one of the two channels into the clock divider. I patched the first output of the clock divider into the Basimulus to trigger it. Now I need to send some MIDI from the Deluge so I can actually get some gates. I make a new MIDI clip and set its channel to 1. The nifty case receives MIDI on channels 1, 2 and 3. What's being sent on channel 3 is split between the two channels. If I remember correctly, the higher note goes to CV1 and the lower one to CV2. I entered some gates, so the Basimulus is now being triggered. I could patch the clock into the clock divider, of course, but I wanted to shuffle, and this is an easy way to achieve this. Great, it works. Now I'll try to make this more enjoyable to listen to. Using a MIDI clip to feed the clock divider also lets me use probabilities. I dial some of them down and delete some gates entirely, to get a more distinctive and interesting rhythmic pattern. I'm adjusting some more probabilities. It's done by holding a pad and turning the select knob. I'm increasing the shuffle amount by holding shift and turning the tempo knob. I'm also adjusting the tempo itself. Now it's time the Basimulus receives my attention. This already is fun. I'll patch some outs of the clock divider now into the inputs of the Basimulus. This one goes into the morph input. I tried the spread input, also nice, gives me some variation in pitch. But morph was also cool, so I'll patch another cable to it. The Basimulus loves gates. I think it's because it's designed to be a percussive instrument. And it is absolutely happy with receiving just one constant voltage per hit. Of course I could attenuate the gates to get some finer control over the values the Basimulus toggles between. But I feel like in many cases, that's not even necessary. Next I'm going to use an LFO to rotate the clock divider. I'll use quadrax for this. You can tell by the magenta light that envelope 4 is already set to LFO mode. The LED in the middle is given an indication of the oscillation. I plug it into the rotate input of the clock divider. It's definitely rotating now. In what way exactly, I don't know, and I don't need to. I'm trying some different settings on the Basimulus now. The upper switch offers 3 different modes of percussion synthesis. The bottom one moves the pitch up and down quite drastically. I move one of the gates from morph to fold. I feel like the Basimulus is one of these instruments that have a life all of their own. When I try to use it with a particular purpose in mind, I usually fail, but when I just plug stuff in and turn knobs at random, it often brings me lots of joy. Here I'm trying modulation on the attack parameter. Don't like it, so I just put it back. I'm just trying different things now, and this goes on for quite a while, so I'll skip ahead because it's usually more fun to turn the knobs than to watch me do it. I'm gonna modulate the decay with another LFO from the quadrax now. This one I have to set to LFO mode first. I patch it into the Basimulus decay input. I love this. Varying decays somehow seem to always make things sound more organic. I'm gonna attenuate the LFO going into the clock divider's rotation input now. I'll use one of Math's channels for this. The rhythmic pattern has gotten pretty wild by now. I'm gonna add a 4 and a 4 click on the deluge against it. Increase the velocity of the kick here, so it's a bit louder. Nice, I like that. If you could see more than my hands just now, you'd see me moving my head along in a hen-like manner. I'm adding a second MIDI clip on the deluge. This one is going to send gates to Plaits. Conveniently, it is already set to MIDI channel 2 since channel 1 is already in use. I patched gate 2 of the nifty case to Plaits trigger in. I patched the output of Plaits into another channel on the quad VCA. Without anything plugged into the channel's output, it gets mixed with the Basimilus. No sound from Plaits though, it's troubleshooting time. Muting the Basimilus to better hear what's going on. Is it because of the oscillator type? Nah. The nifty case gets MIDI signal, so that's not it. Maybe the Plaits octave? No, not that either. The cable? Maybe? No. Trying a different VCA channel. Now there's some sound, so everything up to there must be fine. Finally figured out the culprit, the little knob that's adjusting the response curve. Back in business now, so I'm setting Plaits oscillator to quartz. That's definitely off key. I temporarily switched to the aux out on Plaits. It only outputs the root, so it's a bit easier to hear what pitch it's actually set to. I think this is the right one. Back to quartz mode. I'm shifting the chord up to a higher register, and I'm adjusting the envelope of the low pass gate. The upper LED row indicates the amount of filtering, the lower the decay time. I'm changing the quartz waveform. I want to add some reverb to the chord now. So I'll patch it through the 2HP verb. I'm about to run out of small patch cables, so I went to get some more. Here's the reverb. Thank heavens for reverb. I add a couple of occasional gates to the chord pattern. I hold the pad and turn the select knob to decrease their probability. I'm turning my attention back to the Basimulus. I'm getting rid of the wavefolder modulation. And I try modulating the harmonics parameter with this gate signal instead. I messed with the pitch somewhere along the way there, so I have to bring Basimilus and Plaits back in tune. I muted Basimilus briefly to listen to the root note. I brought Basimilus back in too loud, so I have to readjust the volume. There we go. This sounds alright to my ears. Trying some different chord transpositions. Back to the Basimilus. I'm trying the different modes of the skin liquid metal switch. I decide to modulate that. I'll use another of the clock divider's outputs and plug it into the skin liquid metal switch input. I'm dialing back the clock rotation attenuator. I'm listening to what the modulations do exactly by plugging them out temporarily. So I can compare and decide if I consider them an improvement to the patch or not. I decide that the harmonics modulation makes things a bit nervous and I ditch it. I tried the same gates on the bass, alto, treble switch now. I try some different starting points for the switches. I temporarily mute the kick so I can better hear what's going on down low. I decide to set the transposition switch to treble to carve out some room for the kick. Thanks to the modulation, I still get some bassy hits occasionally. I'm bringing the kick back in. It sounds weak against the Basimulus. I go for a different kick. But I guess I'm pretty much going back to what I started with. Now that the Basimulus is in a way higher register than before, I can go lower with the chords again. The sound I get from the upper switch modulation sounds too much like an angry duck to me. I'm getting rid of it. Time to get some more stuff going on the Deluge now. I'm adding hats. Some of the high frequencies of the Basimulus are quite nasty. I can't figure out how to get rid of them without setting the transposition switch lower. So I do just that. I like melodies, so I'm gonna add one on the Deluge. I initialized the synth, a bit of low-pass filtering, and a longer release time. I'm ready to enter a melody now. Cool. This should only happen every 2 bars though. Or maybe only even every 4th bar? Cool. I'm adding the second oscillator. And I will transpose it down 1 octave. It's getting there. I'll add some delay. And some saturation. Modulating the filter cutoff with an envelope. And I will generously add reverb. I'm increasing the filter envelope modulation amount. I'm increasing the delay amount. I'm opening the low-pass filter a bit and decreasing the envelope modulation amount. And I'll give the filter envelope a sharper attack. Now I'll add some variation in the melody for every other time it occurs. I'm doubling the clip length yet again for this. I'm zooming into the very end of the clip. The screen tells me I'm in bar 8. I'll let it play right up until there and try imagining what the second melody phrase should be. I listen back to see if it works. No, that's not how I pictured this. Maybe just adjusting that last note will do. Yes, that's a lot better. As you can tell, I'm making small changes to that patch along the way. My melody phrases are quite sparse and I tend to be impatient. Time to add some spice to the drum part. I'm going for a reverse cymbal here. I load up a ride sample for this. No sound. I check start and end point of the sample. This is one long sample. I increase the attack to make sure it still fades in smoothly. Good. I set the mode to stretch so it ends exactly at the end of a bar. Of course, it occurs way too often now. I will lower the probability. I don't remember to what I set it to and I can't see it because of my hand, but I guess we will hear in just a second. I'm adding some maracas while I wait for the reverse ride to play. Like I said, a bit impatient. There's the ride. It's set to 8 of 8. I'm adjusting the amp envelope of the maraca, making it shorter. I'm moving the sample starting point for a snappier tag. It doesn't really sound like a shaker anymore. I move it back. Instead, I'll try to achieve a somewhat tighter sound by using the envelope. Adding delay. It's what I always do when I don't know what else to do with the sound. And I'm adding a couple more notes. And getting rid of that last one. I'm moving the sample start point again to about halfway to where it was before. Now next I'm going to add a snap sample. This guy is going to get a good amount of reverb. I am going to set the probability to 1 of 2. Adding delay to the reverse ride. I'm adding an additional kick with a pretty low probability. This is something I do very often. I think it really helps to make things a bit more lively. I'm still not happy with that maraca sound though. I'll swap it out entirely. I'll replace it with one of the samples I made on a little field trip into the woods. Those actually turned out a lot more useful than I had ever hoped for, and lately I've been using them a lot. Now I'm going to make a pad. It's always nice to have one handy in this type of music. I filter the default square wave and modulate the pulse width. I increase the voice count to 3. And I also increase the amount of their detuning. I filter out some of the low frequencies with the high pass filter. They only make things muddy. Trying to find a nice chord now. I'm thinking not too many notes. Maybe 1, 5, and 7. I moved the high pass filter cutoff up a bit further. And the low pass filter cutoff as well. I'm adding reverb and delay for some space. Like I mentioned earlier, you can't really hear any stereo things because I had to mix it down to mono, which is a shame, but that's just how it is. I want to create more movement, so I modulate the low pass filter cutoff slightly with an LFO. I bring in the second oscillator 1 octave higher. I change both oscillators' waveforms to a saw. I add a little bit of LFO pitch mod for more movement. I move the high pass filter cutoff up even further to make things more transparent. I changed the low pass filter type to a 2-pole as well to let some more high frequencies through. I make the pad a bit quieter. I add another one of my wood percussion samples. And another one. I pitch one of the two notes down. I add another hi-hat with a bit more air than the first one. The sample has a delay-like repetition in the end, but it works really nicely with the groove, and I'll just leave it like that. So that's all for today. To end things, I'll show you a little more of the little jam you saw in the beginning, and I hope you found a thing or two of interest to you in this video. Thank you a lot for watching.